Hey, welcome back, guys. This is Aaron Washington, my buddy John here. We are the host of the No Trade Clause podcast, and we are back in action for our it's hard to believe, 15 episodes now of discussing NBA, discussing the background of the league, getting into salary cap details, the whole nine. That's pretty much what we do at No Trade Clause. So happy to be back in the studio, back in the booth, so to speak. John's big time now. He's with, he's coaching with Xavier, and he's at MSGs. I mean, I'm just trying to be like John. He's out here making moves, but we're having fun with it and just trying to get this podcast off the ground and really see where we can go with this thing and bring in some great guests for you guys that we have some guys lined up. So we were just talking about somebody we have lined up for January. That's going to be coming on. So that's going to be a lot of fun, but that'll be coming in the following weeks. For today, we have a few topics on hand. So in the past few weeks in the NBA, I mean, history has been made all over the place. We wanted to start with kind of the elephant in the room, so to speak. Steph Curry is out here making moves in the NBA. He's, become the all-time leader in regular season three-pointers made. He's also the leader in including playoffs. So he is the number one undisputed leader in three-pointers made in the NBA, which is absolutely astonishing considering the fact that, it only took him less than 800 games to accomplish this feat, as were Ray Allen, and, it took him over 1,000, I think 1,300, somewhere around there to accomplish this feat. So, John, you were live and in person, and you got one of the in-person videos on social media of the shot, which is really incredible. From your point of view, seeing Curry out there making history in MSG, like how special of a moment was that? Just being able to witness that in person, and not only that, but you were in one of the most famous arenas in the world at Madison Square Garden.
First off, it's gonna be a really fun episode. We got a lot of fun stuff to talk about. But thank you. I mean, your intro first to beginning was number one, beyond flattering, and then that night in and of itself was just incredible. I just had such a great time. It was just really the craziest thing. Wasn't so much. I mean, anticipation for the shot was big. The shot itself was huge. But the chills I got after he made it and the celebration that ensued in another team's gym, and also like with his dad there, with his mom there, with Ray Allen and Reggie Miller there. Like there was just so many emotions, and like him hugging Draymond and the scoreboard. The MSG scoreboard showed a graphic for Steph Curry. So there's a lot of things. I didn't expect Tibbs to call timeout. They probably told him like, "Hey, you better call timeout." Like in terms of like the Knicks higher ups. But it was a special moment. It's funny, like that happened in the first few minutes, and like the rest of the game, just that's all everyone can think about. Like that doesn't really happen. Very rarely does something in the first quarter still resonate when the buzzer goes off, but that's exactly what happened. Mm-hmm. And I was obviously privileged to go on the court afterwards and just be kind of within 20, 30 feet of Steph Curry was crazy. And seeing him just like interact with everybody and he was just so thankful you could just tell he was just so gracious for the love he was getting from everyone there. So that night was special, but I know we're going to talk about a lot is like his impact to the game is just, I mean, look, the numbers are astounding, but the way he did it and the way he's made everyone feel, he's like the only person ever that he throws up a full court heave and everyone thinks it's going to go in. Like everyone turns their head. So both because of his talent level, but also because of the way he did it, he's just completely changed everything. The fact that he broke this record with almost half the games took everyone else to attain that record. He is just in a league of his own with that. Best shooter of all time doesn't even do it justice. That's how good he is. That's how much he's lapped the field in that category. But it was just incredible and just such an inspiration. I can do the Flight Reacts quote and saying, "Look at Curry, man." But really, that man is
inspirational.
That's so inspirational.
Dude, I love that, man. Yeah, I think there's like two ways we can think about Curry's brilliance. We can think about it like his on-court impact, of course, like you mentioned it, with the impact he's had on the game in general. He's completely changed the way basketball is played, or at least he's played a part in that, because you got to pick him up at half court, because you're talking about his impact, or his ability to be able to pull up from half court, which almost nobody else can do, and actually legitimately be a threat from there is absolutely incredible and a testament to his greatness and his work ethic. But the other side of it, which is cool too, and I've heard some other people talk about this, I think Reggie and some of those guys, broadcasters have talked about this, but the way that Curry kind of goes about conducting himself as a player is really cool. I love the fact that, even in his brilliant seasons where he was, two-time MVP and, he was leading his teams to some of the best records in NBA history, he was still very humble about how he approached it. He knew that he was already probably the greatest shooter of all time, and he had more talent than 99% of, anybody that's ever going to play the game. But, he kind of sat back and he's like, "Hey, I don't have the record. Ray Allen's still that guy. I'm just chasing him. I'm doing what I can to influence the game and lead my team to wins." And then once he got the record, then he came back and said, "I feel comfortable saying I'm the best to ever do it as far as like from a shooting perspective." And then even just in a general basketball sense, he's one of the greatest to do it. So I think it's just a privilege to be able to watch Curry day in and day out, lead his team to wins, be a great teammate, a great person. and then just kind of soak in the brilliance of doing something like that in Madison Square Garden where you were present. It's just the icing on the cake, man. It's so cool to see that. So I think he's done a great job just being an ambassador for the game, being one of the faces of the league. The basketball is a better place with him at the forefront. So I think all those factors kind of come together just to make Curry a special person, a special player. And, we'll see where he goes from here. I mean, do you think that anybody is ever going to have a chance to break this record once he has 5 more years or so of playing and, maybe he's at like 3,500 threes? Like, is that going to be one of those unbreakable records in history?
So I always hate saying the record's unbreakable. He's going to make it really, really hard for guys. But the way the game's going, you have to think that at some point, someone's going to be shooting that insane volume of threes that he's shooting maybe now in his prime as a rookie. At some point, that might happen. So when that starts to happen and guys get a little better, and who knows, right, the game might change too, that might encourage the three-point shot even more. Like, we have no idea what might happen in 10, 20 years. So that's why I never like to say that a record's unbreakable. But he is going to make it really, really hard because even by today's standards, obviously what he's doing is astounding. All time, it's of course like not even a question. But even by today's standards, there's like the second best shooter in the league. The gap between 1 and 2 is huge. So whether it's a number of shots he's putting up or the number he's hitting or how effortless it is for him to kind of have those big games. I mean, when you look at the number of times he's had 9, 10, 11 threes in a game, it's absurd compared to everybody else. It's like he has like 20 or so like 9+ 3-pointer games or 10 or 11, something like that. And like the rest of the league combined is like 3. It's something like ridiculous like that. So I can't remember the exact number because he keeps on making it hard for me because he keeps on adding one more to it. Every time I see that number, it's different, whichever number of threes is for. But that's kind of a testament to how good he is at what he does. And obviously his game is so much more than shooting. But that part specifically is what really puts him over the top from everyone else and makes him one of the greatest players of all time. I mean, at this point, it's kind of something where that'll just keep on becoming more and more true. And we'll have to, reevaluate in a few years as to where exactly he is. But in terms of that record, it's going to be, I mean, he might, for him to finish with 3,000, he's going to get 3,000, next week or so.
Yep.
4,000 might take him like 3 years, might 3-4 years. I mean, he'll still be like kind of exiting his prime at that point. 5K's on the table, and that's thinking about that is really wild to think about, and that's going to make it really hard for anyone else to come close. The closest guy is James Harden, and he's put up about the same volume as Curry, and he's still got a couple hundred to go to get to him. So
yeah,
that kind of stuff really makes you realize that's how far ahead he is from everyone.
Yeah, it's really incredible just to see the gap between him and the competition, and I think what makes it so difficult. Well, what's going to make it so difficult for people to match his totals is the fact that not only is he shooting a lot of threes, like you could shoot 15 threes a game, but you have to be consistent as far as your percentages. If you go back and look at Curry's percentages throughout his career, I mean, this dude is like never under 40%. Like he shoots all those threes, but he's in 40, 42, 43, 44%. I think that's what's going to separate him from people that are making a lot of threes. It's the fact that, he's been so consistent. He's played, and ever since he had those injury scares back in the early part of his career, ever since then, I mean, he's been pretty healthy. Every now and then, like last season, like a fluke, or 2 seasons ago, someone falls in his hand and breaks his hand, like it happens. But, for the most part, he's been pretty consistent as far as playing in games and getting a lot of threes up and hitting a high percentage. And to be able to get that many threes up and to hit that many, like you have to be a pretty special player, and you have to be able to hit threes in a variety of ways, not just spot ups, not just off the dribble, but he hits them all over the court, different situations, unguarded, guarded. And I don't think it's a stretch to say that. I mean, it seems like he's better when he's under duress, when he's trying to get a shot up, as opposed to if he's wide open. Like I watched some of the games before he hit Madison Square Garden, and it was like Curry's missing wide open threes. And I'm like, he needs the pressure. Like he's a tough shot maker. He needs 2 hands in his face. And I'm sure you've seen this. He needs to be falling over. Like, have you seen how many threes he hits when he like shoots and then he all of a sudden starts like, falling out of bounds, or like he, just 2 guys like fall on top of him when he's shooting. Those are the threes that I think are, gets him in the zone, and he's like most consistent when it comes to just making those shots. So that's absolutely incredible, man. I love that aspect of his game. Yeah, as we got to wind down this podcast, I just want to remind you guys that we do have, some places you can kind of find us if you're looking to get involved with some of our work. So we do have a website called notradeclause.com. That's where you can find our cap sheets, draft capital, transaction logs. The whole 9 is going to be down there at the ticker if you're watching this video style. And then, of course, we partner with Sports Business Classroom. They have a GM Academy coming up the December, I believe, 23rd through the 27th. So you guys got to get involved in that if you're thinking about kind of finding your way into basketball. Highly recommend that experience. Me and John took part in that, and we have nothing but great things to say about it. So if you go to sportsbusinessclassroom.com, then you can find out how to get involved and kind of check out their content, because they have a bunch of stuff going. And then at Summer League, they will actually have Sports Business Classroom coming back. So be sure to check out that. And then if you want to follow us on Twitter, that's also down there too. So no trade _clause is our Twitter handle. We post graphics on there. Ali, our guy Ali, is great at graphics. We post some things on there, especially when it gets to trade season, free agency, key dates you need to keep your eye on. That's all going to be on our Twitter page. And, you can definitely follow us there if you want to get kind of more of the scoop as it pertains to the backside of the NBA with transactions. So that's going to bring us to our end of our episode here. John, always a great time, man. Thanks for coming in on, a day where you got a lot going on. You're coaching, you're making things happen. So we appreciate you having you on the team, and it's going to be a great time as we kind of move forward into the following weeks and going into the new year with some great content coming up. So
definitely check out GM Academy. It's going to be a lot of fun. We met each other through SBC. We're going to be there again for GM Academy and for whatever they do going forward. We're both obviously huge fans of the people that run it, the content that they're putting out. I think them giving us this opportunity to do the show. I mean, they've just helped our careers so much. And I know that the GM Academy is going to help out so many more people live their dreams out. So definitely check that out. And thank you all for listening.